Welcome back people to another League of Legends video. In this one we're doing a top 5 AD carries of patch 6.2. So let's just get straight into it. Now I'm going to start off with the honourable mentions. I'm going to start off with a Vayne. Now, don't think she should ever really be in like a top 5, like the best AD carry, because she could either be the best or worst depending on your own ability. Like, yes, she scales really well, she does loads of damage, she's really good against tanks, she's really good at 1v1ing. Like, none other AD carry can really 1v1 in the late stages of the game. But in the lane phase, you are relying really heavily on your own skill to get yourself through that, and it's not always going to go that well for you. So for that reason, I'm just going to leave her as an honourable mention, and I think that she should be a personal pick and not based on a tier list. Champion I'm going to put at number 5 is, of course, Kalista. She does loads of damage, and she scales pretty well with the kind of items that are in the game at the moment. And if you do get really fed on her, she does snowball really hard. As that Ren just stacks and stacks and stacks on a champion, you pop Yi and they're pretty much dead. It's a huge burst, but that only comes once you've attacked them, obviously, a couple times. The other downsides to her are her passive is kind of a double-edged sword, and you can either be a really good player as her and no problem, you can just get out of any situation. So if you get ganked, you can get out of that gank, but obviously when the minions go, you've kind of lost that ability. And she has no point and click gap closer that, for example, someone jumps on her, if there's no minions and you kind of get out of the distance of them, you haven't got anything else to get that extra distance away. That immediate escape is what she lacks, and that also means that when she's behind, she doesn't really do anything. So that's why I'm putting her at number 5. For number 4, some of you may or may not be too surprised at this, I'm going for Misfortune. Now obviously when they changed her so that her ult crit, it made her just suddenly so much of a better champion. And now with Thunderlords in lane, that E, it's just a poke that no one can really counter you, because you're slowing them down, and then you're also getting that Thunderlord's proc, so you're just basically free poke. And what's better than free poke? But at the same time, that is going to push your lane, and also she has no escape, so that can be a problem if you're not ahead, or someone, like I said, jumps on you. You're relying on someone else to get them off you instead of you getting away from them, which is putting more pressure on the team. And when you're in solo queue, you want to do everything yourself. But still, she does a really large amount of damage. You can turn a team fight over just by ulting, because she'll just wipe out the whole team, especially if she's fed. And that is exactly why I would put her as number 4, because she can carry a team on her own, but she also may struggle if they have a really good jungler or someone who camps you. You're just not going to be able to get away from them. So that's why she's at number 4. Number 3, and my personal favourite, of course, is going to be Lucian. He does such a large amount of damage, and he can get to that stage where he can carry a team really easily, because does so much damage in lane, because he's an AD caster. Especially with the Thunderlords, you can Q, auto attack, and there you go. There's your Thunderlords. You've now burst them down. Not many people can counter that burst. And level 2, if you take E, you dash to them, auto attack, Q, auto attack there. They are lower than half HP at this point, and you're in such an advantageous position to win that. Maybe kill them. You come back and you're just snowballing from then onwards. He's got a Z as well, so if you do get ganked or do need the mobility, it's right there. And obviously auto attacking someone with, I think, W on them, you're lowering the cooldown of it. So for that reason, I wouldn't recommend Max in second. But he does now scale off, and some champions, like others I'm about to mention, can 1v1 him that bit easier. And with the low range, he's kind of struggles in a team fight if he's not really fed. So you need to sort of prioritize getting fed over like like a champion who would scale more. So for that reason, he only stays at 3, but he's still my personal favourite. Now, position 1 and 2 are kind of iffy. It depends who you are and which one you prefer more. I personally prefer Corki more, but I would still put him at number 2. He does a huge amount of damage with Sheen proc. He's an AP caster. You can even see him at mid just because of how much burst he does. And that means if a mid laner tries to 1v1 you in a team fight, you can easily just burst them down. And with the package as well that he gets, it means you can, in situations, jump into something that you wouldn't normally go into, test it out, test the water, see if you're going to do it. If you're not going to win that fight, your W's still up after that, and you get out of there, you're done. So there's no risk in that. Obviously his W, huge range, gives him loads of mobility in lane, and it means ganking him can be really hard if he's got that W up, of course. The only downside I can think really with Corki is he does sometimes take a bit of time to get going, and if you're new to him, maybe you might just want to farm in lane, but there's nothing wrong with that because he'll still scale up and just become just unstoppable. Because although he's got that low attack range, he's got spells like his ult and his Q, that long range, just destroys another team in a team up. That's why I would put him at number 2. Now this may be no surprise to you now that you've seen the other champions. Ezreal, he's definitely in my eyes the number 1 spot. Although I personally don't play him that much, he's still just such an unstoppable champion. He's got that E, so he's got huge mobility. It's like having a flash up every, I don't know, whatever it is, like 12 seconds or something like that. You're having incredible mobility, so you can't be ganked really easily anyway. I mean, you could make mistakes and end up dying in a gank, but it's a lot harder. And it means when you want to escape him, even if you've got flash, he's got his E. So you got a problem there. He scales up so much that it's almost like Vayne, but imagine being Vayne but having a good lane phase. You've got poke, and you can trade back with an enemy, especially once you get that Sheen. But you can also just stay in lane, CS. You can even lose about 10 CS in comparison to your other laner, and you're still ahead. You come out of the laning phase, you got that poke, you got wave clear with your ult. It's such a small cooldown. Q with the ice spawn, it's just no wave's going to be able to withstand that. And then when it comes to a team fight, you're just jumping everywhere, just putting in damage left, right, and centre, and no one can really stop you. I can't really personally think of a downside to Ezreal because you're going into lane knowing that even if you don't technically win the lane, you come out stronger than the other AD carry, and you can 1v1 pretty much all AD carries unless maybe a Vayne who outplays you. But this is down all then to skill rather than just the champion itself. Now maybe he can be a bit slower to scale up, but I mean, if you just take your time, you're going to get there anyway. So that's why he's just number 1 spot in my eyes. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like rating, subscribe, and give me any feedback in the comment section about how you would improve this or what your opinion is on the tier list. Peace.